The war in Ukraine continues with full intensity. June 29th, 2026. Somewhere in Serebryansky Forest, a Russian soldier is running right now. Another is lying motionless, praying he isn't seen. A third just gave up and started filming himself. None of it matters. FPV drones from Ukraine's 63rd Mechanized Brigade are already locked on, watching every tree line, every clearing, every soldier who thinks he's found cover. By the time you finish reading this sentence, one of them is already gone. This is what an entire forest under total drone control actually looks like. Ukraine's Ronin unit, 65th Mechanized Brigade. A Russian vehicle takes the hit, and one soldier tries to jump clear at the very last second. He doesn't quite make it out in time. The strike catches him still half inside. Outside his trench, a Russian soldier waits. The drone is already moving toward him, and by the time it's close, he's down on his knees. Not running, not reaching for a weapon, just still. Maybe shock, maybe something else entirely. Whatever's going through his mind in that moment, it doesn't change what happens next. The drone reaches him, and the explosion that follows ends it. An FPV drone strikes a vehicle Russian soldiers left outside their position. It burns out completely, disabled within seconds. A few minutes later, a soldier steps out of the tree line, looking around, checking if the drones have moved on. They haven't. A second drone, already waiting, catches him the moment he's exposed. One drone, one soldier. Caught in the open with absolutely nothing to take cover behind. Running is the only option left. A weapon's in his hand, but there's never a moment stable enough to use it. Maybe he's out of ammunition entirely. None of it matters. None of it saves him. Almost an identical scene, but with one difference this time. An elderly soldier who actually manages to raise his weapon and fire back at the drone closing in. For a moment, it almost looks like he has a chance. He doesn't. The shots miss, and the outcome ends up exactly the same. A convoy pushing toward Ukrainian defensive positions in the Donetsk direction, wiped out completely by Ukraine's Magyar's birds. Vehicles destroyed, soldiers down everywhere. The operator keeps searching for anyone still moving. One soldier is still on his feet, walking through the wreckage with bags in hand. He sees the drone coming and just stands there, staring at it, no idea what to do next. A perfect snapshot of where this front actually stands right now. He doesn't survive it either. Day breaks, night falls. Nothing changes for these soldiers. Night vision drones find them in the dark just as easily as standard FPVs find them hiding in places that were never going to work. Russia keeps relying on the same approach. Send enough soldiers forward, and eventually some will get through. Across thousands of kilometers of front, undersupplied, often unarmed, with no clear sense of where they're even supposed to be going, most of them never get the chance to test that theory. Sharp, stable footage from start to finish. For Russian soldiers, that consistency has become a nightmare. Ukraine's Phoenix unit catches a convoy mid-movement, and the strike hits so cleanly that soldiers are thrown clear of their vehicles before they even register what happened. An ambush drone sitting silently on the ground. A vehicle full of soldiers drives right past it, completely unaware. It lifts off and strikes from behind. Some manage to jump clear in time, others never get the chance. The same pattern repeats across multiple vehicles. ATVs, old transport, soldiers just trying to reach somewhere on this front, none of it gets them there. Ukraine's Reg Team finding one after another, moving through territory that looks completely empty until it isn't. Ambush drones waiting at different points along the route, and none of these drivers see what's coming until it's already too late. No destination, no purpose, just walking. The 6th Battalion's reconnaissance drones had been watching long enough to know, wherever he was headed, it didn't lead anywhere. The FPV was already inbound, closing at 150 kilometers per hour. He spots it a split second too late, swinging his backpack up like it might actually help. It doesn't. Sumy direction. 2 strikes from fiber optic FPV drones hit a Russian troop transport. The soldiers get out, scatter, survive it. The vehicle doesn't, and now they're stuck on this front with nothing to move them. A military truck. Soldiers gathered around it, likely unloading supplies as part of some logistics operation, out in the open, with no real precautions taken against drones. None of them realize they're being watched. The operation doesn't last much longer. 2 separate drone strikes hit the truck back to back, and whatever was happening here comes to a complete stop. The vehicle is left entirely unusable. A medium-range Ukrainian UAV catches a logistics truck mid-route, direct hit. The driver bails and runs. Strikes like this rarely make headlines, but they're exactly what's been quietly grinding down Russia's ability to keep its front lines supplied. A Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet striking a Russian drone operator base directly with an AASM Hammer guided bomb. Whoever was coordinating drone strikes from here, that capability just ended. A group of Russian soldiers stepping out to pose with their unit flags, ordered by their own command. If the goal was to attract attention, it worked perfectly. The moment the flags go up, reconnaissance locks onto the position. They scramble back into shelter, but Ukraine's Achilles unit is already inbound. The shelter is burned out entirely. One soldier tries hiding in a nearby barn instead. It doesn't work. Ukraine's primary unit running a systematic campaign across occupied Crimea, targeting Russian military logistics piece by piece. Since this unit became active, Russian forces have lost key surveillance capabilities and faced serious logistical breakdowns, railway transport included. This is what a sustained, ongoing demilitarization effort looks like. Not a single strike, but months of steady pressure on the same network. Lyman direction, Russian artillery, carefully camouflaged, knowing exactly how attractive a target it makes for Ukrainian drones. None of that camouflage matters once Ukraine's Signum battalion gets involved. 4 separate artillery pieces identified and damaged in this operation alone. Guns that were actively shelling Ukrainian positions, now silenced. Belgorod Oblast, the village of Krasna, inside Russia itself. Russian command had grown used to running this war in comfort, setting up the 136th Brigade's command post in a private residence here. A HIMARS strike from Ukraine's 16th Army Corps put an end to that. The command post stopped functioning, and along with it, the idea that Russian territory offers any real safety from this war. A Russian D-30 howitzer, camouflaged and hidden, Ukraine's Dovbush's Hornets find it anyway. An older Soviet-era system, but still capable of hitting Ukrainian positions from up to 21 kilometers away. A precise strike, and that range no longer matters. A road stretching for kilometers, lined with wrecked Russian armor. Tanks, one after another, reduced to scrap on both sides. This is what an entire armored push looks like after it fails completely. The sky above Kherson, a constant battlefield of its own. Ukraine's 34th Marine Brigade interceptors taking down Russian Molniya strike drones day after day. These are cheap, fixed-wing UAVs built for one-way attacks on Ukrainian positions and infrastructure. And every single one intercepted here means another failed strike. Time keeps moving forward, and every day it does. Russia's strike capacity in this sector keeps shrinking with it. Chita, Zabaikalsky Krai, one of the regions hit hardest by Russia's fuel collapse. Lines stretching for kilometers at the few stations that still have gas. This region matters more than most. It's Russia's main land gateway to China, carrying enormous volumes of trade. And as the footage shows, logistics companies are still trying to move freight through here, fuel shortage or not. A massive month-long operation is taking shape across occupied Crimea. Throughout June, Ukraine's unmanned systems forces identified and struck 31 Russian air defense components, radar systems, and surface-to-air complexes. Since the start of this year alone, that number reaches 194. That's not random damage. That's a systematic dismantling of Crimea's ability to defend its own airspace. Today's targets include a Pantsir S-1 system in Feodosia, 2 radar installations, and 5 separate power substations across the peninsula. Fuel tankers hit in Feodosia, Melitopol, and Zaporizhzhia region. A locomotive disabled in Russia's Bryansk region. A tugboat struck in Kherson. This has been running for over a year now, steadily stripping Crimea of its air defense, power grid, and fuel supply, one target at a time. What you just watched is happening every single day. Soldiers caught off guard, no weapon, no plan, vehicles ambushed on roads that looked completely empty. As of today, June 29th, Russia's total combat losses have reached approximately 1,402,200 personnel, 1,230 in the last 24 hours alone. And for everything Russia keeps throwing at this front, the actual ground gain tells a different story. Over the past month, Russian forces have netted barely 12 square miles of new territory, and some independent assessments suggest they're actually losing ground overall. Putin claims his forces are close to taking Kostiantynivka. The reality on the ground looks far less decisive. Ukraine's unmanned systems forces keep dismantling Crimea's air defense network. Fuel shortages keep spreading across Russian regions. Russia keeps sending men forward with no real strategy. Ukraine keeps finding them on the ground, in convoys, and in the supply lines feeding the entire war. Drop a comment. If Russia is losing over 1,000 soldiers a day for almost no ground, how long is this sustainable?